Yo, what is up, family? Today, we're actually not going to be doing a play-by-play. I'm actually going to be talking about, I guess, a rant of Smite 2. Um, as you know, if you guys have been watching my past videos, especially the ones where it was during closed alpha, I've always been a pretty strong believer of Smite 2. Even when a lot of content creators, especially the big ones, had a negative outlook on it. And I guess this isn't really like a rant video. It's more of what went wrong in Smite 2. Because right now, if we look at the player base, off really strong at, you can see 21k players peak. That's only on Steam. Again, if you go through console players, you can probably times six, times five, times six that. So about maybe 100k players all-time peak. And then same with, the players right now, 4.5 times five or times six, depending if you're an optimist or a pessimist. That you get basically a rough estimate of the player count, right? In not only Steam but also console. But where did it all go wrong, right? I kind of want to start at the very beginning. When Smite 2 initially released, obviously it was at a very, very bad state. It was not ready to be released at all. And it's really nobody else's fault but Hi-Rez's, right? Everybody knows that already. When they released the closed alphas, it was clearly an unfinished game, not even halfway to being finished. And yet they brought it out to closed alpha, obviously to get, testing and stuff. But I think that's definitely, their first mistake, because that first impression, and Intersect went over it in a video of his. I'll show a screenshot right now. And the title was "Why First Impressions Matter." He basically just went over, what Hi-Rez did wrong in that video, for the most part, and basically the importance of first impression, and also what Smite 2 looks like now versus when it released in closed alpha. That video came out a while ago, but the what he said still stands. Hi-Rez definitely did a very, very poor job in the timing of it. I think if Smite 2 were to release at this current state, open beta 4, but if, it would be technically, if this is their first release, it'd be, whatever closed alpha 1, right? I think it would be a much better perceived game, right? If they waited like 6 more months to release the game, I think the community would have perceived the game better, right? And maybe it would have taken off a little more, or taken off a little more. English is hard. But with that being said, though, because of the poor management, because of, the awful release dates and the timeline of it, the timeline of everything is off. We, as a community, kind of bashed on the game. I personally, believed in Smite 2. You can watch my past videos, and I still do believe in Smite 2. I think it's gonna be a great game. But that's if that's if Hi-Rez doesn't shut down, right? And either, hopefully they don't shut down, but again, it's kind of looking like they will. Either that, or they're gonna get bought out. But back to my main point, because of the poor timeline, because of the release dates, the community, especially the big content creators, they kind of doomed the game, right? I mean, if you go past like the post when closed alphas were out, it was basically saying, Smite 2 is ass, don't play Smite 2 right now, which is fair, right? Because again, it was ass, right? I mean, what are they gonna say, right? They're not gonna lie, right? It's not the game that it is right now. Obviously, devs had more time to cook the game, so right now is better, which is great. But again, that's going back to the first impression of Intersect's video, how first impressions are super important. And because think of it kind of like as a domino effect, right? Bad timeline turned into, or bad release dates turned into content creators shitting on the game. that turned into the community being turned off and even trying the game. And come on, let's face it, like if for most of the community, a lot of people just kind of just don't really have a mind of their own. It's more of like, okay, my favorite content creator says the game is bad, the game must be bad, right? Um, so they kind of just doomed the game from the start. But that also kind of brings me to another point here where I kind of didn't understand why content creators doomed the game so much publicly, right? Obviously, they can have their own opinions. At the time, they disliked the game, right? And I just didn't really see the point of, you know, for example, here in these past videos, uh, when they were posted, obviously Inbound a pretty good size Smite content creator, so Double J, another great content creator, and they look at the release dates of these 2 months, 4 months ago, back when closed alpha was out, and again they were kind of just dooming the game. Obviously, they're very much entitled to their own opinion. It's their YouTube channel. Obviously, they can post whatever they want, but I think it would have been best to keep, to bite your tongue a little bit there. And again, people's opinions, you gotta understand that if you want the game to succeed, because that's what a lot of content creators, that's if someone were to watch this, a content creator that posted a dooming Smite video, they'd probably say, oh, that's what I thought at the time. Why would I not say that, right? But what I don't get the most is a lot of the big content creators that post the doomer-esque videos of, this is what's wrong with the game, right? Like this game is trash because of this. They're gonna argue that feedback is what gives the game, is what gives the game the identity of what it is now, right? It's what makes the game great, and I agree for sure, right? But that's what the creator Discord is for, right? I completely am blanking out on the name right now, but most of the big content creators are in the Discord with the devs, and they can give feedback there. A lot of the times, devs also reach out to the pros, to the content creators on, does this god feel right? And, that's up to the devs to listen to the pros and, and whatnot. But, I'm not sure if you guys kind of see my point here. Like, you are like, for example, okay, Inbound posted in one of his videos how there was too much CC, right? And obviously it was a whole community. I'm not sure if the entire community agreed with it, but a lot of, we could say let's say 70% of the community agreed with it. Too much CC, right? But essentially, it was also a video of complaining about the CC part, and also kind of dooming the game. I'm not sure. I think it's the same video that I posted in a screenshot where he was straight up just saying like, okay, this game, if they don't fix the CC, it's cooked, right? This game is over. But again, like, you are in the Discord. You're in the Discord. Just tell the devs about it, and I'm sure the devs are very much aware of it, which is why they put the whole CC buffering thing in. And if you already kind of know what's in the works, a lot of these content creators know that it's going to be that it's already in the works, right? But yet what I don't understand is they still post these kind of doomer videos, or they don't post them anymore, right? But back then, they still posted those doomer content. There's those dooming content, like the game is over, the game is cooked, the game is dead, when they knew about all the cool stuff, right? Like, a lot of them were under NDA, so they couldn't say anything about it. Especially, for example, when the aspects weren't out yet, a lot of them knew that aspects were coming. A lot of them were saying, Smite 2 is cooking something up. I just can't say what it is yet, and that that thing, what they couldn't say was the aspects. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of just dumb, I guess, of, you know, you're complaining that the game, there's nothing new being added to the game, but yet you as a person know, and you know, as a Smite content creator, know that there is something new coming into the game, and that new thing was aspects. So again, you know, it's like, why post that nothing's new in Smite 2? There's no point in playing Smite 2 type of video when you already know that something's new being cooked up. Right now there's nothing new, right? I know that during the whole closed alpha stages, a lot of content creators are saying there's nothing new. There's no point in playing this game. If you go on their streams, you can ask, like, you know, is this game worth playing? Some of them are gonna say not right now, but you know, check again when open beta comes out. Some of them are saying no, this game's not worth playing. It's the same Smite 2. It's Smite 2 is basically Smite 1, and a lot of them would argue Smite 1 is better. And obviously, it's better, right? Smite 1 is a game polished for 10 years. Smite 2's been out. Well, I guess now it's been out for what, a little over, I guess a little over 6 months. No, a little over like 6 to 8 months. I think it came out like August or something. When the 24/7 alpha uh, came out. I'm not counting closed alpha weekends. But yeah, I guess that's also kind of another thing I wanted to kind of talk about, and why it also kind of catered to the downfall of Smite 2, the numbers, right? It's the first impressions kind of just lead. It's, you know, it was for the views. We all know, obviously, a lot of people like to feed on negativity. A lot of people like to click on videos that say Smite 2 is dying, and I wouldn't even be surprised if a lot of people click on this video because I'm talking about a little bit about negativity here. So, you know, a lot of people feed on negativity. That's, you know, that's not hard to get, and I understand Smite 2's viewership, especially during closed alpha, was extremely low, because the community was basically split in two. Right now it's a little better, although Smite 1 is still open. We have Smite 2 taking over probably 90% of Smite's player base. And yeah. Next thing, esports. If you guys aren't into the whole esports aspect of Smite, basically there's not really a confirmed esports, right? Like, nobody really knows what's going on. I think yes, they know. There's gonna be no freaking esports. We're cooked, right? There's no esports. Maybe next year, but right now there's a community. There's like a community vote, or sorry, not a community vote. There are community tournaments hosted by the same content creators that doomed the game, which makes no sense, right? Um, Kind of like you're just kind of just shooting yourself in the foot when you post all the doom stuff. But um, yeah, so I guess the only esports you can kind of count on are like the tournaments. For example, we have Chris T. Dixon, the Joust tournament. We had Rexy's Duel tournament. We have Inbounds. We also have Inbounds tournament. And don't get me wrong, obviously we have content creators like Chris T. Dixon. He's always been very, very positive on Smite 2. He has never had anything bad to say about Smite 2. He even admits sometimes, you know, he has to stay positive, even if it's delusionally positive. It's for growth. He understands, like, a person like Christy Dixon understands that a lot of people look up to you as a content creator. Your opinion and your words has a big impact on the game, whether you think it does or not. Right? I understand you want to voice out your opinion. You want to let the community know what you think. But it's one thing of letting the community know what you think is wrong with the game. It's another thing if letting the community know, you know, that you hate the game or you don't like the game at its current state, but you yourself know that the devs are cooking something up to fix it. right? I think that's where a huge problem kind of just falls into. But yeah, I think other than that, other than esports, a little bit of dooming from content creators, especially during closed alpha, and the whole timeline of the awful, time of Smite 2's release dates, kind of just all piled together and is slowly killing the player base. And obviously, there's more competition out in the gaming world. We have games like Path of Exiles 2, who had their game's not even fully out yet. They are technically also still in beta, but obviously it's a very much bigger game because it's a little more polished, right? It's a little more polished. It feels like a good enough game to be put into beta. We have games like Monster Hunter Wilds. We have games like Civilization. We have games like even like if you guys aren't into those games, we now have games like Fortnite. Back when Smite 1 was out, when it first came out, actually, there weren't any games like Fortnite. There weren't any Apex Legends. There's a lot more competition that is surrounded by the games, right? And I guess the great thing about Smite 2 is there will always be a niche of players where they will play Smite 2 no matter what. Obviously, unfortunately, that niche of gamers may not be enough to keep Hi-Rez alive. There's a lot of rumors going on where a lot of pros are saying that Hi-Rez might end up selling the company. A lot of people are saying that Hi-Rez might be bought out. A lot of people are saying that Hi-Rez might shut down their game in a few months. I don't really see that happening. Well, I don't see the shutdown happening. I think they'll either be bought out and shut down from there, maybe. And I think it'd be Epic to buy them out because if you go on Epic's Twitter account, they've been reposting a lot of Smite 2 stuff. They've been marketing Smite 2 stuff. And yeah, so it'd either be a buyout or slowly just dwindle the player base to basically zero. Even what's crazy is even when there's new god releases like Artemis, the newest god, we don't see the spike anymore. Maybe when Bari comes out, we'll see another spike of 20k players. That'd be nice. Game's a little more polished than it came out when Aladdin came out. A lot more items have been added. More aspects have been added. So hopefully that's a good thing. Hopefully we'll retain a little bit more of a player base. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I kind of just wanted to voice out my opinion on where I think Smite 2 went wrong as a whole, as a community, as a company. Obviously, it doesn't stem off of content creators dooming the game, right? I'm sorry if it did stem off to that. It ultimately is Hi-Rez's fault. Honestly, everything could have been avoided. A better release could have happened if they waited 6 more months. So I guess the key takeaway for this video would most likely be patience is a virtue. Just have patience and trust the process, right? If Hi-Rez opened the game up 6 months later than when they initially did, or if they even opened the game up, maybe even a year later, right? That's fine. Smite 1 was in a great state. When Smite 2 came out with 24/7, a lot of people were having fun with Smite 1, so it didn't really make sense to release Smite 1. Or it didn't make sense to release Smite 2 when Smite 1 was, at the time, retaining a lot of its players for a 10-year-old game and still grabbing a good some amount of money. But yeah, I'm not really going to finish this game out. This game ultimately ended up in a loss. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts on why you think the player base is continuing to dwindle down. and what you think can save the game. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. Thank you, family.